Hello everyone, Pulse here and welcome to another episode of Pulse Impressions. Now in today's episode we're going to be taking a look at a Greenlight title, Steam Greenlight title I should say, by the name of Cats vs. Aliens. Now this game is a little bit quirky, as you'd imagine from the title, but it's actually a lot of fun and I felt it was worth covering because of that, especially after the whole Uncraft Me debacle, if you guys seen that. I wanted to show a title that I actually thought was worth being on Steam, and I usually just randomly pick them out, but I actually played this game for a couple hours last night to kind of unlock everything, and I actually found myself to be having a lot of fun. So let me just start on, I suppose I'll jump in on the third mission. I'll just show you the basics, and then I'll go to a tougher level and show you what it's all about. But Cats vs. Aliens is this kind of strategy game where the idea is, very simply, two opponents on the sides, and you have 5 lanes, or maybe it's 4 lanes. I think it's 5 lanes of where you can put your ships, and then they just move forward. And there's some that break this rule, like this one here, the ball of yarn is a defender type. It doesn't move; it just sits still. Your own stuff can pass through it, but the enemies will be stuck there until they can kill it. And then you have different attack ranges and stuff. So you have like this guy who is pretty weak up close, but he's like a very sniper-esque kind of unit where you place him in the back and he can shoot very, very far and does very nice damage. And he builds at a fairly quick speed. Then you've got stuff like this, which are just like huge walking tanks. They can take a good bit of damage. They can kill up to 2 enemies in front of them at once. But they take ages to build, so you have to put these towards the back or protect them. And then you've got like the little units, which you can just kind of zerg with, and that actually is a worthwhile strategy at some points during the matches, where you can just bum rush the character with too many ships to handle. And then you've got stuff like this, and now obviously there's a lot more to come. But then you've got stuff like this where this expands your building radius, and this is a very strategic kind of unit that if the enemy happens to kill, it can really put you in a pickle. So let's start off with this. I believe it's the third mission I picked here. So we'll start. Yes, I know shields. Thank you much for that. But on the note of shields, I suppose, it's a very simple mechanic. It just gives you more defense on the area that you put it in, and if a ship goes to it, they can pretty much just sit there and take, I believe it's like double damage maybe, but we shall see. I'm going to start off with this a little bit here, mainly because, here, stop him there, but mainly because I can just do this guy right here, and these units are kind of overpowered in my mind when you can stack them up like that. Now I said 5 lanes, this one's only got 3, but I know for a fact there's some that have more. I just did one a little bit ago that was 5, so we'll see a little bit of that, I suppose. I'm just gonna put 2 more there. I normally start off with the cat's eye thing, but we're very close this time, so I'm not too worried about it. Plus I can just easily defend this middle portion with these guys. So I'll toss one more up there. Now you might be wondering, why is it that I just don't fill this thing up every second? Well, as you can see, I have a kind of power unit thing here, and that seemingly comes from portals, and admittedly it's one of the things that we're not told a lot of victory very quickly. As I said, it's fairly basic, but the idea is you get the portals and it gives you energy to produce units, and everything costs more and takes longer to build. As you've seen, the ball of yarn took a very long time to build, whereas the fish bones, the long range unit, doesn't take very much long at all, and then the little scouts take very, very quick. You can pop them out in like 2 seconds, I think. I guess I'll do mission number, I think I'll do this one, mainly because I want to come back to this, because it's actually a different game type. They've actually mixed it kind of well. That other one I'm talking about is kind of like a tower defense. I'll come back to that after this match, I suppose. Let me see here, which one is this? Now, a lot of these are fairly basic, but they do a pretty good job of like scaling up the difficulty so you can get all of it. The first couple are very slow, so if you know how to use like a keyboard at all, you'll be fine. But if you're new to just playing whatever and you want to take it slow, I think it actually works at a fairly good rate. And I'm just going to start off with this kind of Zerg rushy thing going on, mainly because the meteors are going to block off the other stuff, and this gives me a chance to do this. And I very much like this unit a lot. It allows me to just pretty much take full advantage of the screen. It won't quite reach. I think it'll reach to about here. We'll see in just a second. Yeah, it actually reaches all the way to here. So all of these units are going to be able to get up here, but I can just start making stuff up here before having to do any of that. Actually going to put a shield on that. Getting a little bit more. As you can see, I control that portal. Now, here's the one thing. I have to make sure not to lose this, because the portals seem to be the only way to get power, and I feel like that's one of the big missteps this game makes. This game actually is a lot of fun on so many fronts, but that is one of the things I found very frustrating, and it makes it so that the game comes down to who has the portals and pretty much nothing else, sadly. That said, it doesn't mean that the game is boring. It just means it's very hard to get away with it. Like right here, I'm about to get screwed if I don't spawn something right now. Nope. See, I'm going to take my portal, and now if I hadn't won that and the game was going to go on longer, I honestly would have just lost that, because the one portal is the only way to get energy, and if you have 0 energy when you lose a portal, you're screwed. And I feel like that's one of the things I found very, very frustrating about the game. And I actually think it's one of the reasons that, at least from what I can tell, there's no multiplayer attached to this game. I actually think multiplayer would be a lot of fun, especially if they added in just some inherent energy charge and maybe some units that allow energy charge. In fact, it wouldn't surprise me if there are units down the line that allow like baseline energy charge if you have them on the field, so like mini versions of the portals. But let's continue on. I'll keep rambling as we go into this other one. Now this is the assault game type. As you see, they took away my little cat's eye unit, which allowed me to scale up how many places I can build to. But this is a tower defense style, and this is one of those where you see the portal thing come into play, because there's no portals beyond this first one, and as far as I can tell, every time I've done this, it doesn't actually give you any more than like maybe 1 pulse. So you get 67. That's what you get, and then you're stuck with those units. Let me build a couple here actually. 4. Let me build 1, 2, 3, 4. Then let me build a couple more. See, instantly dead because it took so long. Now I'm in a pickle. And this is not going to be good. It's not going to be good at all, because I'm not going to get any more energy from this. Luckily that ship won. I don't know how the hell that's possible, in all honesty. I don't know why that one's not moving either, though. But I'm going to put that down. Should be built in time before he gets here. Put that one there. Just take the hit, and then this one should die. Oh, that's why they're not moving. Yeah, this is, I forget, this is the tower defense mode, where stuff essentially just becomes a static defensive structure so that you can defend against the waves. And you'll see I'm about a little bit past the halfway mark, and then suddenly I'm going to get a massive wave. Now here's the problem, as I stated earlier. The portal doesn't seem to give any energy, and unless it just takes ludicrously long to do so, and I'm missing it or something, this is what I have to defend. And more than likely, that bottom area is going to get swamped by a large wave of enemies, and there's nothing I can do about it, all because I had to make a quick reaction. All because of that, the bottom lane is way, way less defended. And I feel like if I just had a little bit more energy gain, or a little bit more control over how to use the energy. Now that said, it could be just something that I'm not quite used to, where maybe they don't intend for you for this tower defense to use it all at once, but I just feel like that's usually the best way to deal with it. Now, as you can see, this is not going to end well because of the bottom wave. Luckily, most of the stuff is going to die. I'm going to take 3 hits here, but the problem is that's still substantial damage. So I've taken 1 already, and I'll probably be down to half health, which is not very good. All because I have no energy. Once that little bit of energy runs out, you're done for. Now, that's okay, I think, for the tower defense version. That's actually okay. The problem is that this is a problem that kind of blends into the other game as well. Mainly when you have a single portal situation against a heavy opponent where you'll just see lots and lots of enemies. And it can become a problem because if you lose the portal, you're boned instantly, and I don't like that. There's no way to dig yourself out of a problem if you're thoughtful about it. There's no way to get around, and that's one of the reasons I think multiplayer would be good, but would need some tweaking, because if your friend just happened to like instantly grab them and you just weren't able to ever get any energy, you'd just be stuck and you wouldn't be able to win. It would just be impossible. But I suppose I'll go on to the boss fight mission here, and I'll show you just how hectic it can be, and then I'll just tell you what I think about the game so far. But yeah, I've got all my units here. We've got a brand new boss unit we're gonna have to deal with at the very end of their long waves, and there's a lot. We've got lots of cruisers and mosquitoes and all kinds of stuff, and we'll see just how potent the enemy can be. In fact, I might lose this. I'll try my best not to. But the key, for the most part, on these tougher ones, as you can see, it's a long way, and yet there's only 2 portals in play. The key is going to be getting those portals and then keeping them for as long as possible, preferably the whole match. Now, I am going to try something here. These units don't have a tendency to kill these for the most part. Like, once they get up to this point, they just won't be able to. Now I'm going to try something a little bit weird here, and I'm sure I'm going to get some people like, why did you do it that way? Well, it's because these units can just pick off the stuff in the back so good, and then this leaves nothing here because of this wave of comets. As you can see, nothing can get past them, and I've just instantly grabbed these. So now I am in control of the flow of the match. Now, obviously, I wish I could have like stuck these guys up here, and I wouldn't have to worry about these guys messing with the boulders before they do. But for the most part, I am in control of this. Now, I think I'm going to actually going to do this here. I'm going to put that down, and I'm going to pop out 1, 2. Yeah, that should do. And then this is going to get built just in time for me to, once these guys go by at least. Come on. I'll pop down one of those. And I'll pop down one of these. And one thing I will note, though, and it's very apparent in this level, is that these fishbone mobs are incredibly potent, especially in large numbers. Put down one of those and one of these because the bottom's not looking so hot compared to the others. But yeah, they will pretty well wreck just about everything as long as you can get a good number of them. Now, the big thing that holds them back is once they get up close, they are just really, really weak. But that's okay. I can just put a couple of mobs back here. Now, I feel like the top one's safe now. The bottom is what's going to need my attention. I'll just pop 2 more of those. Now, the bottom should be fine, mainly because there's 2 defenders. I'm going to put that shield on these guys to keep them relatively safe. But that should hold them down there. But I've got the portals. That's the most important part. As long as I hold the portals, I am pretty well off. I should be fine. Now, let me put a couple more of these. I like to put them in like 4s, 3 or 4s. It just helps keep the enemies under constant barrage because they'll just shoot off 1, 2, 3, 4 right in a row. Again, the problem is when they get up close. But with 3 or 4, they get rid of them pretty quickly. Now, come on. There we go. 2. I'm really focusing on this mainly because I have all of these already doing damage. Even these ones back here are doing significant damage to the tick. I haven't taken any hits, and these guys are just still fairly well defended. I'm not worried about it too much at all. Okay, those guys just got sucked up. which is not really good, admittedly. And now I'm gonna kind of change it up a little bit here. I'm going to put a couple of those as defenders, and then I'm just going to kind of zerg this guy here. Because I can put mobs ahead of this, this is one of the big advantages of using the cat's eyes, and it's why it's one of my favorites, because I can just skip to the front. And I found this tactic works fairly well. Now there's lots of mobs coming my way now, and I'm kind of regretting putting so many here. But the thing is, I still have defenders. I still have a good amount of defense on the top. And the tick is just taking tons and tons of damage. I just can't deal with it, to be honest. But, in fact, I'm just going to put a couple more out there. Just put them here. And that should be the end of Mr. Tick. That should be the end of it all. Should be no more issues whatsoever with this guy. And then I'll just make sure they don't go forward. Now the shield mixed with the fish bones, I feel is a really, really good combo, because you can just let them sit there and be exactly what they are intended to be, which is long-range catapults, and you can really take advantage of their long range without putting them in too much trouble, as long as you can keep stuff in front of them or there's nothing like in terms of enemies. Not the best showing, admittedly. It took me a long while, but the thing is I didn't take any damage and I kept the enemy away, and I just utilized my stuff to the best ability. And what are you doing, Mr. Game? There we go. Yeah, and that is Cats vs. Aliens, guys. It's a little bit quirky. Cats fighting off aliens with ships that spew like radioactive cat litter or something, it says in a couple of these, and you've got the pop-up like cartoon characters giving you motivation or telling you what's up. I do think there's some tweaks that need to be made in the way that you gain energy, and it could just be something that's a problem at the early game, and once I go a little bit further, you'll see some units that give you energy. The scaling up from mission to mission is fairly good. The only time I noticed a big difference was from this mission here up to the boss mission. That's partly due to the fact that I didn't have this ball of yarn that I used in the last mission that makes it a lot easier. This thing, it just, the jump in difficulty was quite significant, and then this and this and this hardcore mode. Now the hardcore I can imagine, but I do feel like it kind of loses its way when you jump to the boss, but considering it is labeled boss, I suppose we should assume that it's going to be a lot more challenging. But yeah guys, that's Cats vs. Aliens. I actually enjoy it quite a lot, and I would actually I would suggest people go check this guy out on Greenlight and see if you think it's worth the vote or not. It's definitely one of the better games I've just randomly picked out of the bunch and gave a try. It doesn't look too bad. The overall gameplay, it's fairly smooth. There's some things that need to be tweaked, but this is before release. This is a prior or a pre-release build, a pre-release demo of the game, and it's fun. I can see this working on both PC and mobile devices, and just being fun all around. It's fairly addictive. I can say for myself, getting into the game for a couple hours yesterday, just mostly out of sheer will to beat the boss in the hardcore mode yesterday. And it was admittedly a lot of trial and error, but it was very addictive, and I couldn't get away from it for a while. And then when I finally beat it, I was like, oh man, that was hard as shit, but I win. I feel really good about it. So yeah, again, Cats vs. Aliens. Check out the link down below if you want to give this game a whirl. And this has been me, Pulse, with another Pulse Impressions. Come around for the next one. If I could, I'd like to beg you for a thumbs up, for a subscribe, a comment down below. A game suggestion would be really cool, and I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching.